Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I am Maitri, the Wayfinder, and we are talking about wayfinding and what has been found and what we're doing here at the sanctuary, as I've kind of found gradually this sanctuary of ease, this place to come together, as has been done for millennia, coming together to kind of create something, to be part of something, to create something together, as we are all wayfinders. Inside, we all have the wayfinder. So, if I am the wayfinder, so are you. And we have created a mission, a focus, and that is what I found. I found this way. There's been many wayfinders throughout life, different ways of life. This way leads to body being, which is a little bit of a different way than others. So we want to put words to it to help seeing it, because we need the intention to find the way. We need truth to guide us. We need a teacher to be available. We need to be aware that we have all kind of gotten lost in the ego. The ego is kind of almost an excuse. It's like a fast track to awakening, to become a man or a woman, to become a human. But it also easily become an excuse to have one interpretation of our body, one interpretation of our feelings, one interpretation of our emotions, one interpretation of our mind, one interpretation of spirit, one interpretation of our sexuality, one interpretation of God, one interpretation of life. So we kind of have to find this anew, discover our emotions anew, discover our body anew, discover our feelings anew, discover our mind anew, discover our sexuality anew, discover our spirit anew, discover God anew, because our mind, the ego, has already kind of just accepted a form, a matrix, to kind of fit in. The ego kind of lets us fit in. But to fit in is not necessarily to give you freedom. It's not necessarily to find the way, to find the flow of life, to connect deeply, because that requires an intention. It requires surrender. It requires a wish. So when this sanctuary is created, it is kind of created so that you say, yes, I want to join. I want this. Because if you come and say, no, I don't want this, so you come, but you actually say no, so then that's the confusing. So the words and the energy and the challenges, sometimes you might not sleep, sometimes you might feel pain, some emotions, all these things. they're the challenges that kind of test you to see if you dare to commit, dare to surrender, dare to go in. Everybody has already been challenged in life, but sometimes you just experience this growing up, and yet most parents have not let you know that there is a path, there is a way. So for me, finding this way and seeing that I kind of already knew this way, and yet I hadn't walked it. So there was a knowing that there was a pathfinder inside that would guide me, as I had no pathfinder outside, but everything outside is also a guide. So as you see me as a wayfinder outside, without your inner calling for the pathfinder, the wayfinder, and realizing that your inner wayfinder has to be in agreement. But our wayfinder has been kind of skewed. We have been lost in different kind of, no, come into this fjord and come out into this, and no, you better have this belief, and no, get lazy like this, or get angry and get opinionated and get abuse this, and we have all these seductiveness. So we have kind of bowed to the dark side, so to speak. So we kind of want to start seeing that when we go into certain things, we get stuck. And it's hard to understand the path, the way forward, when everybody around is kind of stuck. So it's easy, we have to kind of engage with the stuckness of life, so that we can kind of be a light for people as they want to start, a lantern that people want to start opening up to the path that is available. So this teaching is available. It hasn't really been needed in the past. There's been different pathfinders, wayfinders in the past, like the Buddha, there's many that has kind of led to different teachings. But they were for different times, and now we are at this time. We are in a new dawn, a new era. We are connected in a way never been before. There you see, when we're all kind of in tune. That's why we're all focusing on what president in America. When we see there are people are kind of flowing together, we are more kind of connected. And yet people easily will try to distort you and get attention and get angry and confusion, because that can easily nourish people with pulling you down. So here we have to kind of realize that people around us can try to pull us down, and yet we have to dare to honor ourselves and the path and our internal pathfinder, wayfinder, which is that we actually want to awaken, we want to uplift, and we want to love, we want to forgive, we want to live and live in the glory. So that is what we are here to do. And many of you were part of my retreat this weekend, or our retreat, and it's symbolic. It's literally the last it's like the wind is coming in today. They're cleaning out wind. They're the last few hours of, they have to come back on the roof. Yesterday I had to go up there. The pipe was still not covered. It was not healed yet. They were all like walking around like headless chickens. And but finally or that was 2 days ago actually. And yesterday they came and covered it up. But there was so much dust, rubble up there. We're cleaning up the rubble. We're getting that the sun. We have a little roof. We have a little window going up to the sky. So we're getting that clean today. That spirit gate. So we're finally getting clear. So literally happening now. The thunder again, just like the weekend and like last Wednesday. So it has been like this is kind of more part of the retreat that has been about the lantern, lacing the lantern and starting to see the path more clearly, that we can even start enjoying the night. When people try to bring confusion, which your mind will try to give you confusion, your emotions will try to do, your pain, like your life, sometimes you just have to rest and trust that the sun, the daylight will come. The clarity of the day will come, and there you see the sun, which is the lantern, and then you see the guidance and the faith that kind of is needed to move through these things. So it's kind of funny that it literally is happening today. So there, when I talk about these things, it's because like everything kind of, when you start to awaken to life and the Wayfinder inside, then you will start to notice that everything is kind of actually part of your way, the flow. When you realize when people get angry at you, when people get different, that is there's still teachings, there's still more to kind of awaken to on this journey. So it is a gradually awaken. You can't just, when I awaken to the path, the way, you realized it was like inside. Couldn't find somebody outside to talk about it, what I do. But I had to treat everybody as my Wayfinder. But then gradually, as I walked it, then gradually I can shine the light for that way, for others to kind of follow. And then you see that life will literally kind of start working in your favor. So that's where like that faith comes in, when you start to be like, wow, life becomes mystical, life becomes weird, because it's not just logical from the purpose of just analyzing everything. The way people are stuck, this is right, we have kind of become a mathematician of just, this is so rigid. Well, when you start kind of coming into the flow of life, then you realize that there's a beating heart. There is an energy that is always alive. That everything kind of fits into the insanity of life, and everything is supporting you on your way, when you realize that this is where we are headed. So it takes time to kind of understand the path, because it just takes time to accept that we have to choose, and what we choose guides our way. So that is why we are putting words to this, so that you can become clearer. Like I was dead clear from the get-go, but most people are not. So I had to be, because I walked alone for a long time, but then I realized it benefits both me and everybody else if there's more, because then as more people come in, the ship can build and become more powerful, and the energy of Earth and everything gets more affected. So the more we are, actually, the more benefit it is. So that's why I realized that we don't have to go walk it alone. We can bring people, but the person themselves have to say yes. It can be a little spooky, scary to start seeing the rubble of life, and start to dust away and start seeing, oh, there is a path here. So that is why the Pathfinder is important, as they have always been. And it is glorious to see you guys wherever you are, like old or new in the space, where you see me on my sanctuary, or you pop in on YouTube. Sometimes I'm here as well. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, like, let me know. And if you want to engage more with the space, then come into the sanctuary on Patreon. Anyway, let's go to the second part here of the day. The second part of the day, which is the second part, which is the body. So we're focusing on the being, which is more the mind, and the body is more just the silence. To allow the energy to kind of go through the different portals of the body, as it started coming in last night and this morning, start to work. So some of you might have already felt it in your sleeping. It might shift and stuff might come up. So if you're awake or you're asleep, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Or if you're awake, or keep them up. So that's where the life becomes fun, because you cannot necessarily do it. The Wayfinder is kind of there to give you patience and play, because life is fun when you realize where it's headed. So lean back, open up your shoulders, open up your hips, shake them loose a little bit. We're kind of letting that sun in, because it always will seem like it's from the outside. That is kind of the illusion, but it's also like our physical. We're incorporating energy into our physical sense. So we're letting the gates and the energy that has been dispersed to kind of come in, so we can open up that river of life inside. Mm-hmm. Mm. So close your eyes or keep them open. And you might have experienced, if you went to the retreat this weekend, that you might be feeling dry, or your hair is a little dry, or body feels a little almost like sick, because it's like your body's like gone through a little workout. So today, like after the retreat, we're settling down, we're centering down, we're allowing the energy to come into the body, to the sweetness, so that we can kind of be nourished in that space. Because sometimes when we want too much and we're too open, we kind of just keep the gates running, and we burn. We want some water so we can get that. We don't want to burn too much. We have to have like a gentle fire. Maybe there's just charcoal that is just glowing, underwater. They can almost they can still be glowing. If it's like warm enough, then they need to be underwater. The fire When it's not so warm, it's okay. But when it gets too warm and it gets really, when you get power gets good and cooking, you need water. It needs to be underwater because the fire heat is so much that water is needed. That's why the yin and yang, the water, fire, we need the balance of masculine and feminine. So this path is kind of the path of the masculine and feminine, the balancing out of body being so that we can kind of live and let live, and that we don't just burn up the body and just head to the afterlife, but we can stay and we can heal and we can be renewed. So lift your hips up a little bit more, stretch your legs out. Yeah, stretch those legs out, toes out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, stretch out those legs. Yeah, stretch, lift your hips a little bit more. There we are. Yeah, and let the energy up again, up into your chest, up into your jaw, your head. And up. Thank you guys. Whether you're here or Hervik or wherever you are, it's kind of became a little bit of a retreat because it's kind of the aftermath. So it kind of fits that mostly who watches it now live is the retreat people, and other people might watch it later. Anyway, I will see you next Wednesday, or if you text me in between, or if you have questions, let me know on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful Wednesday, guys. Bye.